Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Penguin Nonsense. I am your host, Edith, and welcome back to another episode. I'm really happy to have y'all here, wherever you may be in your car, at your home, at the gym, wherever you are. I am so glad you're listening to me today. So, let's jump out to our first story of today. I think this is one of those stories that kind of went under the radar because of this whole thing about the submarine. And if y'all know about the submarine, it was that submarine. I honestly don't know where it went from, or where it took off from, but it was a submarine that was trying to go and like look at the Titanic or whatnot, and then it turned out it had an implosion and that kind of stuff, and everybody was like, "Oh, I wonder, um, what this story is trying to cover up." And then this story kind of went under the radar because I think this is what they were trying to cover up, was the fact that they have approved the lab grown meat. It has finally been officially approved. So I started reading about it because I'm like, I already know a lot of our food, especially in the USA, has like a lot of GMOs and all this other stuff, and practically not the healthiest of things for us. So I already know what we eat is not on the greatest, like, part of the health system, I guess. But we eat it anyways. It is what we've grown up eating, and we make do with it, you know? What else are we gonna do? Starve? And it's actually delicious to us, so it is what it is. And also, eating healthy sometimes can get really expensive. um, and like, I'm not saying that, oh, we shouldn't pay the prices, but it is very, very expensive. And I don't know if I try to eat some healthy stuff. That doesn't mean I don't eat my vegetables and fruits and stuff, but it does get expensive. So um when I read about this, I was like, okay, I am not surprised. I know we were eventually gonna get to this point in life where everything was gonna start be making, we're eventually gonna get more things being made in a lab than actual, like, out there in your backyard and farmland or whatever. So I wasn't actually surprised. But the title goes, that they have approved this, and it says soon Americans are going to be able to try chicken that comes directly from chicken cells rather than, well, a chicken. On Wednesday, the USDA gave Upside Foods and Good Meat the green light to start producing and selling their lab grown and cultivated chicken products in the United States. In a nutshell, lab grown meat, or cultivated or cell based meat, is meat that is developed from animal cells and grown with the help of nutrients like amino acids in massive bioreactors. This happens in a production facility that looks a lot like a brewery. When the meat is ready, companies collect it from the bioreactors and move it along the processing line. Good meat's protein looks a lot like minced chicken when extracted, said Andrew Noyes, head of the Global Communications and Public Affairs at Global Meat parent company Eat Just. For one thing, growing meat from cells means that people can eat without having to slaughter animals. Upside Food explains that cells it gathers from a fertilized chicken egg, are stored in its cell bank and can be used for at least 10 years. Animal cells can come from animals' biopsies or even feathers, among other sources. Um, and they are environmental considerations as well. Agriculture, particularly animal agriculture, is responsible for a significant amount of greenhouse gas emissions, which contribute to climate change. Overhauling the system could ease the burden on the planet. So, um, and honestly, like, I guess maybe the article makes it seem like it might be a good thing for us. And And at the same time, I think it just has to do with how you view things and what you, I guess, think of all of these things and what's happening. But I think the article gave a pretty good explanation of how they're doing it and why they're doing it. And I know that a lot of the cows and stuff, they're like gases are a lot of the greenhouse gas comes from them and that kind of stuff. But I also feel like if we're not eating them and we're not killing them, they're reproducing and like I mean we just get more. So I feel like this lab stuff is gonna help us save the animals, but then wouldn't that mean that there would be more animals? And I don't know, maybe it's just I'm not thinking about it too straight or whatnot, but you guys can always chime in on whether you think this is going to be a good thing for us, if it's not going to be a good thing for us, and where do you think this is going to go from? Because I also think it's kind of cool where they said that when they get this cells from the animals, they can get them from like animal biopsies or even feathers, and one of their cells, it says it can be used for at least 10 years. So that's a long time. Like, if we get to a point where we're running low on food and stuff, we can still keep, because, our animals are, like, stop reproducing or whatnot. Like, we can still keep making this at least for 10 years longer out of a cell. And I think that's pretty amazing. So, I don't know, maybe there might be a little solution to our world hunger problems, but we know that's not something we could probably ever do. But honestly, this looks like something promising. Considering you can use some of these cells for such a long time. So I think that's also kind of good about it. But I think it's one of those of pick your evils. And we might not be still okay with all of our genetically engineered stuff made from a lab. But at the same time, it's kind of pretty much everywhere now. So I think it's one of those where the public would have to decide whether they're going to try it, they're not going to try it, or they're going to try to get more natural stuff. They're going to turn into more of an agricultural spot where them and their houses are going to have like more livestock in their houses to be able to like work with that and then be able to have like natural stuff at their homes and that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of excited to see where that turns into in the next couple of years and where that goes and where that leads. So keep an eye out for that, and let us know in the comments if you would be willing to try some of this meat, or if you're just going to stick to your normal grown meat, or you might just decide to go vegetarian. Who knows, I did see that they have already tested some of this to like some people out there and like had them taste it and that kind of stuff, and a lot of people say they were smaller portions than what they're used to seeing like on a normal like real leaving chicken or whatnot. The portions were smaller, but they did say that the meat did taste a lot like the real stuff. So with that being said, who knows if later on they might just start saying it's real but it's really not and you just can't taste the difference. So there's always that part of that situation. So let us know what you guys think. And we'll move on to our second story of the day. Today's story is back to our Reddit stories. Another Am I the A-hole story. And this one was taken from the Am I the A-hole forum. And it goes, Am I the A-hole for taking a photo of my son in my sister-in-law's sports car? When I saw this topic, I was like, that doesn't seem like a very bad thing to do. You took some pictures in your sister-in-law's car. Okay, doesn't sound bad. So let's read the article. My sister, 30 female, and her wife, 33 female, invited us to their beach house for the weekend. People there included my parents, my family, wife and son, my sister, sister-in-law, and their daughter, 3 female. My sister and sister-in-law went to the beach together, and it was clear they didn't really want company and wanted some alone time as they usually do. My son had seen my sister-in-law's car and desperately wanted to sit behind the wheel and take pictures to show off to her friends. Since they were gone, I took a few pictures of my son behind the wheel, and that was it. I put the keys back. When they were back, I showed them the pictures and said my son was really happy with the pictures. This, for whatever reason, pissed off my sister-in-law. She has 2 more cars like this, but is extremely mad at me for taking her keys and taking pictures in the car without telling her first. I apologize, but they won't let it go. As always, my sister is siding with her and giving me a hard time. Parents are on my side. And they put an edit. The keys were in a bowl on the table right at the entrance. I didn't touch her bag. Am I the a-hole? Oh, that one. I feel like if I was in that situation, I myself as a person would have been like, if my car was nice, first of all, if my car was nice enough for somebody to want to take pictures in it, because my car is not the greatest. But I guess if I had a nice fancy sport car and one of my families wanted to take a picture with it, I honestly would not have cared. I would have been like, okay, whatever. But a lot of people in the comments were saying that's her property, you don't touch her property. It's more of a like respect thing. And so they did declare him the a-hole for doing this. And I don't know if I agree with that one. I don't know. I feel like, I guess, like I said, I think it's every individual person for themselves. I think if you are more of a person who likes their stuff not touched, that's my stuff, don't touch my stuff type of person, then yeah, I feel like this was probably an overstepping of boundaries, and I get it. But if you're a person who's like more like me, who's like, I really don't care for my stuff, like if you want to touch it, whatever, like if there is really something that I don't want you to touch, I will let you know. But for the most part, I don't think I have anything that I'm like very protective and over possessive of, that I'm like, don't touch that, So I'm gonna have to say he wasn't the a-hole for it. And I don't know, a lot of people might disagree with that, because obviously they gave him the a-hole title, and obviously the Reddit users were like, that's not your property, don't touch it. So I can see both sides. I can see both sides of him not have asking, to take her keys, open the car door, let the kid go inside, take some pictures. She could have had something in that car that she didn't want him to see, or that kind of stuff, and that is totally acceptable and totally okay for her to have gotten mad over. I get it, but at the same time, I feel like there has to be more to this story. Like, I feel like this sister-in-law has probably had other problems with this guy, and has, maybe this was one of those straws where, like, see, your brother never respects the boundaries or that kind of stuff to her wife. And I feel like maybe that's what this one was like. She was really pissed off because this isn't the first time he's done it. So like, my mind just goes to the scenario of like, this probably isn't the first time something like this has happened, where he has overstepped boundaries. And somehow, it's always like, oh, please forgive me, and that's that, and I think she might just be tired of it. So I feel like there's a lot more to this story than we know from this little published part of it, and I think that's where I'm gonna have to go with that one. I don't think he was the a-hole. It were just some innocent pictures he went and he took, and that was that. I don't feel like they was made too much of a big deal for just some little pictures. The kid was happy. It was what it was. But like I said, I do see the side of where she could have been mad for touching her property. So, come at me, I guess, for thinking he wasn't the a-hole. But let us know what you guys think on YouTube or Spotify, whichever one you want to let us know. And on to our last story for today. Like always, our happy ending stories. This one involves a doggy because y'all know I am such an animal person. I love animals. And this one was really cute because it was about a doggy named Molly. She's a pregnant, homeless cat or dog mix, and she was bitten by a rattlesnake and brought by a Good Samaritan to an emergency animal clinic in Phoenix on May 17th. The 1-year-old pup received anti-venom treatment at the clinic and promptly went into labor, giving birth to 3 puppies. And after she gave birth to the 3 puppies, rescuers rushed Molly and her pups to the Arizona Humane Society Trauma Hospital. On the way, Molly delivered the 2 more puppies in the pet ambulance. Once at the hospital, the courageous mama and her litter of 5 were medically examined. They made comfortable in the organization's maternity suites, where Molly gave birth to a final pair of puppies. And she is now good and saved. And after their initial joint fostering, Molly and her puppies will be fostered separately before hopefully finding forever homes. Dickinson called Molly an incredible mama and said that she would definitely make someone an absolutely wonderful pet in the future. Once she's done raising her babies, it's time for her to be a baby in someone's home, she said. And it was a very, very short article, but that is pretty much her story. And she's doing very well. She responded very well to the anti-venom. She's taking care of her puppies. She's a happy one. There is a picture of her in the article, and obviously y'all will see it in the link below. She is just the most adorable. I might not be able to see her on the camera, but that's her. She's so cute. Taking care of her little puppies. So, I think it's just so great that I don't know what the situation was that she got bit by this snake. And I think that just goes to show you that we need to be careful with our pets now, especially if a rattlesnake. Especially now that it's summer, at least here in North Carolina, and I mean I know everywhere else, but here we do have like snakes are very out there, I guess. Especially like where we live, or at least where I live. We live in woods, and the snakes are very prominent around this area. But be careful where you let your dogs roam, where you let your pets roam. These snakes aren't out there. Just like any other venomous insect or that kind of stuff. During the summer, they're always out. They're always biting. It's just a dangerous place, you know. And I'm not saying this happens often, but just take care of them. They're your pets for a reason. Try to keep an eye on them at least once a day. If your pets are outside pets, every now and then just go outside while you're giving them food or water or whatever. Just kind of check their area where they're staying at and making sure they know there's no snakes around or they don't have any weird bites, that kind of stuff. If they start acting weird, then, give them a check, that kind of things. And just keep an eye out for them, especially with these snakes going around and whatnot. So, that was all of our stories for this week. I know they were a very, very short episode this week. Very fast, I think. But I thank everyone that has subscribed. I know we got some new followers and stuff. So that was kind of exciting when I saw that. But thank you. I hope this keeps going. And as y'all can tell, I got a new microphone. Look at it. So if it sounds different, I don't know. You guys let us know if it does. If you like the old one better, I don't know. But thank you for everything. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for liking. And keep subscribing, and we will see y'all again next Monday. Bye, guys.